confirmed number of new coronavirus cases reported in Los Angeles County in the last 24 hours is 2,622, with 22 additional deaths. Here in Torrance, 38 additional cases were reported and no new deaths. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Christine Lee. It's Wednesday, August 11th. COVID-19 cases in LA County are expected to keep rising through September. Los Angeles County Public Health Director Dr. Barbara Ferrer says that's largely due to wide-ranging test mandates at schools and businesses. She adds that many of these sites have testing requirements upon entry that will lead to tens of thousands of more people getting tested every day. She told the LA County Board of Supervisors that her agency will be issuing a revised health order this week, which will align with the new state mandate requiring all healthcare facility workers to be fully vaccinated by September 30th. The county's order is expected to be slightly more extensive, including vaccination requirements for emergency medical technicians, paramedics, dental service, and home health care workers. Dr. Ferrer also warned that without a significant increase in vaccinations, infections will continue to rise with the ongoing dangers presented by the highly contagious Delta variant. Los Angeles County public health officials will host a virtual town hall meeting tonight. Experts will be available to answer questions about COVID-19, the Delta variant, the currently available vaccines, reopening schools, managing outbreaks, and much more. Dr. Barbara Ferrer will moderate a discussion with other medical professionals from the county's public health department. The virtual town hall begins at 6 p.m. You can watch it on the LA Public Health Department's YouTube page, and you can submit questions at tinyurl.com/LA County Town Hall. A new California public health order went into effect today, requiring hospital visitors to provide proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test. This also applies to those going to intermediate care and skilled nursing facilities. The goal is to protect vulnerable populations from the Delta variant. Doctors say it's an important step to take as these facilities are high-risk settings for virus transmission. Visitors can show their COVID-19 vaccination card, a photo of the card, documentation of COVID-19 vaccination from a healthcare provider, or a digital record that includes a QR code. There are exceptions for visits when death may be imminent. This order allows for outdoor visits without proof of vaccination or tests, but masks are still required regardless of vaccination status, and most hospitals are still limiting the number of visitors. California is about to become the first state in the U.S. to require school employees to show proof of vaccination or get tested weekly for COVID-19. Governor Gavin Newsom unveiled the latest public health order today affecting K-12 teachers and staff. The new policy goes into effect tomorrow, and schools must be fully compliant by October 15th. Governor Newsom says they believe this is the right thing to do, a sustainable way to keep schools open and let parents know that schools are doing everything in their power to keep kids safe. State officials hope these new requirements will get more Californians vaccinated. To date, about 63% of Californians 12 and older are fully vaccinated, while 77.5% of eligible residents have gotten at least one dose. For the first time, a child with psychosis has been linked to COVID-19 in Orange County. Medical experts say although it's relatively rare, they have documented symptoms of psychosis in some coronavirus patients around the world, including here in LA. Such patients may see or hear things that are not there or experience bizarre thoughts and emotions. Doctors think it could be related to inflammation that affects the brain. An OC health official says this condition can happen with any viral syndrome. The news comes as COVID-19 cases continue to spike in children across the country. OC health officials say all of the children who have been hospitalized with the coronavirus since July have been unvaccinated. And more than 90% of adult COVID-19 patients have also been unvaccinated. Health officials ask parents to take caution, especially as kids return to school. They say even though younger children may not be eligible for the vaccine, the adults around them are. They urge eligible family members to get their shots in an effort to protect their young ones. The federal government sent hundreds of ventilators and other equipment this week to help Florida respond to its spike of COVID-19 hospitalizations. 200 ventilators and 100 smaller breathing devices and related supplies came from the federal government's strategic national stockpile. The Florida Hospital Association says on Tuesday, 14,787 people were hospitalized in Florida for COVID-19. That's a 145% increase compared to the state's previous peak in July of 2020. Public health officials say these new infections are being driven largely by the unvaccinated. Close to 90% of the state's intensive care beds were in use as of Tuesday, and 85% of all patient beds were filled. The rapidly escalating surge in COVID-19 infections across the U.S. has also caused a shortage of nurses and other frontline staff in virus hotspots. Florida, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oregon all have more people hospitalized now with the coronavirus than ever before. Airlines are divided when it comes to mandating vaccination for their employees. The CEOs of American, Delta, and Southwest Airlines say they are not requiring unvaccinated employees to get inoculated, while United Airlines issued its mandate that workers get the shots by October 25th or risk losing their jobs. In an internal memo, Southwest Air CEO Gary Kelly noted that the airline will continue to strongly encourage workers to get vaccinated. He has said that while he is very concerned about the Delta variant and its effect on the health and safety of his workers and of their operation, they have not decided to issue a mandate at this time. Delta CEO Ed Bastian says 75% of their workforce has already been vaccinated even without a mandate. In May, the company became the first major carrier to require all new hires to get vaccinated. United Air made a similar announcement in June. American Airlines CEO Doug Parker said instead of mandating, they're encouraging vaccination and giving workers who get the shot by the end of this month one extra day of vacation in 2022. Bi-monthly, we share a Wellness Wednesday story to help you stay on top of this pandemic, both emotionally and physically. A few months ago, I sat down with Dr. George Furness with Providence Little Company of Mary Medical Center to talk about all things COVID-related. This week, I caught up with him again to give you an update. Dr. Furness, it's so good to see you again.
So good to see you too.
So tell me about what things have been looking like here since we last spoke.
You know, it was a roller coaster last year, and it's starting to come back to another roller coaster this summer. I mean, we really had licked COVID as it was last year. We were down to 0 COVID patients in the hospital, and now with this new Delta variant, we're surging again, and so we don't know if this is just a little blip or a tip of the iceberg that's coming. So we are preparing, but things are really going in the wrong direction right now.
So we've been talking about the Delta variant a lot these days and how it's affecting mostly unvaccinated people. Is that the case here too?
Absolutely. There's almost exclusively non-vaccinated people are the ones that are getting sick from COVID now with the Delta variant. Occasionally you'll see someone who is immunocompromised, vaccinated, have issues with COVID infections, but for the most part, 100% of the people being admitted and getting sick from COVID and the Delta variant are non-vaccinated people.
The common cold and the common flu have become bigger issues now that people are getting back out into the real world. Is that something that you're having to address?
We have seen a reemergence of the rhinovirus and parainfluenza virus, especially when the mask mandate came off and people were moving around more and interacting. So we are seeing those. Obviously, those are just cold viruses. They're not COVID, so those are not really anything to worry about. But with those transmissions, we worry about COVID coming around with kids as well.
And speaking of kids, parents are really concerned right now, especially as their children are going back to school.
Yeah, I think it is a good concern. I think, we got over that first hump and we all kind of relaxed. And now this Delta variant is a stronger variant, and so I think there's a concern. I think kids should probably be wearing masks when they go back to school as much as possible and social distance as much as possible. So again, kids generally don't get that ill from COVID, even the Delta variant, but it can happen.
So is that your general recommendation for both kids and people who are afraid of catching the common cold or flu? mask up and social distance?
For now, absolutely. We don't know where this is going. I think it's always better to be safe, and keep your kids safe as much as possible. Social distance, mask, wash their hands, all the common sense things. But I think the next couple of weeks we'll really know if this is a small blip and going to come back down versus something that's going to get worse and worse.
And what about travel? There are so many people right now who are traveling domestically and internationally.
I think if you're vaccinated, you're probably safe, but it doesn't mean you can't get it still, especially if you're vaccinated very early in the cycle. Over time, your immunity kind of wears down a little bit. So again, it's probably about a 95% effective vaccine, but that means 5% of people who are vaccinated can still get COVID, and they could pass it on to other people. So that's the real risk. But if you have been vaccinated, you are safe from getting very ill from COVID.
How are you and your coworkers doing right now? It's been more than a year and a half now.
I think we're doing fine. I think we have the peace of mind of being vaccinated and being safe. We have all the equipment we need. We have all the PPE, that we need to keep ourselves safe.
Anything else you'd like to share with the community?
I would just encourage anyone who can get vaccinated. We've asked people when they come in and they get COVID, why didn't you get vaccinated? And most of the time they just shrug their shoulders and say, I don't know. But now it's too late for them, and some of them may not make it. So there's no reason not to get it. I think it's going to be approved officially by the FDA in a short order. No reason not to get it.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Vernus.
Yeah, you too.
Dr. Vernus also says many of the COVID patients these days are a lot younger, in their 30s and 40s. He urges everyone who can to get vaccinated. You can learn more at torranceca.gov/COVID-19. Well, live theater is returning to Torrance this week, and the cast and crew are busy rehearsing inside the Armstrong Theater.
People look for that moment of escapism, and that's kind of what we want right now a little bit. We don't want to think too much. We don't want to delve into any big issues. We've been doing that for a year and a half. We just want to come in and smile and laugh and tap our toes and, just have some fun.
I checked out the set of Nonsense, the mega musical, earlier this week. I learned that they chose this particular production because it's as COVID-friendly as it can get. A smaller cast of just a dozen people, a simple set that can be created in-house, and content that is funny and uplifting, especially for those who are having a hard time staying positive during this pandemic. It's been an emotional journey for the performers and support staff to be back in this environment again. They wish lots of people could join them starting this Friday, August 13th. Torrance City Council members met last night to conduct city business and open the doors to the public once again. The Public Works Department gave an update on the Enhanced Watershed Management Program, which encompasses the beach cities including Torrance, along with Manhattan, Hermosa, Redondo Beach, and other parts of LA County. The first beach cities EWMP was approved in 2016 by the cities and the regional board and was designed to create ways to improve water quality in the region and find ways to reduce stormwater pollution. The update included projects in the pipeline for Torrance and its surrounding areas, including ways to capture more stormwater, street sweeping, trash screen control measures, and more. The City Council approved grants for easement for work related to the 182nd Street and Crenshaw Boulevard operational improvements, and the city leaders also approved the development of an ad hoc technology committee as well as the citywide wayfinding and signage plan. These items and more were discussed and can be seen here on our channel, online, and on the city's Facebook and YouTube platforms. You can also find the full agenda at torranceca.gov. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share feel-good stories from our community, pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. The city's Social Services Commission and the Torrance Unified School District are winding down their back-to-school drive in an effort to help those experiencing homelessness. The drive runs through August 13th. The commission is looking for new school supplies like calculators, scissors, backpacks, lunch bags, folders, 3-ring binders, glue sticks, highlighters and extra pencils, erasers, and pencil sharpeners. Donation bins can be found inside the lobbies at City Hall, the Human Resources Building, the Katie Geisert Library, and other city buildings. Information can also be found online at torranceca.gov/helpingothers. What a great way to show how you care for those who are in need of help. Now, if you have a great story, upcoming event, a photo, or video you'd like to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's our update for COVID-19 Today. We'll see you back here tomorrow as Bella Shaw brings you the latest. Be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.